Thank you, Simon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to be your host tonight and to welcome you to the RIBA for this ceremony. You're all special, but there is a unique combination of people here tonight that I must mention, and that is Ted Cullinan, Met Stein, and Andy Macmillan, who I don't think have been seen together in a room since the wild times they used to have about 30 years ago, or possibly 130 years ago. Anyway, it's fantastic to see. It's fantastic to see. I find it very moving to see what I think are three of the greatest teachers that we've ever had here. The RIBA is here to create the best conditions for the best architecture to flourish. That's how I would interpret our charter. And unless education flourishes, architecture will not. But unfortunately, sometimes our relationship has been thought of as being dominated by validation and checking, as Simon said, in this world of accountability and QA and so on, rather than being absolutely focused on ethics, knowledge, imagination. But we're changing that, and I know that Ruth Reed and her team in the coming years will carry on doing what some of us have been pushing for, Simon, myself, and others. This year was the 50th anniversary of the Oxford Conference, which was to define education for subsequent 50 years. And there was a lot of agreement during this conference about some new kinds of professional attributes that we need to deal with, that we need in order to deal with a world that's very different from 1958. Climate change and the imperative sustainability is the latest and greatest of these new conditions and new challenges, but there are many others. And there was agreement that our shared values can only prevail, and we can only have traction for our imagination and our design if we value and we reward something that is more than form, image, and invention, the things that we actually find the easiest to judge and talk about. We actually have to reward things like interdisciplinary working, the awareness of limits in the most profound and poetic and imaginative way, limits of finance, but of course of the world as we find it, of time, of human resources, of regulatory environments, and so on, and the ability to argue and communicate that long-term value, the ability to listen to people and to respond in what is now often being described as a spirit of co-creation, the co-creation of the built world with the people with whom we work and for whom we work. And it's actually particularly heartening to see some of these attributes being reflected in the work that plasters the walls of the RIBA tonight, and will go on plastering the walls of the RIBA. Hasn't happened for a while, for at least the next week and possibly longer. Depends how long we can hold off other pressures, including health and safety. Architecture is a form of communication, and a form of an image is at the heart, and form and image are at the heart of making architecture. But without these other things, you get an enormous loss of substance. The image has nothing, in a sense, to speak of unless we also tackle those other things. And that's the new paradigm that we all, I think, are trying to explore between us. Education is at the heart of the work that the RIBA does to develop architecture in the UK and abroad. And this event is one of the great highlights of the year. I find it personally extremely rewarding to see so many students here at the RIBA and to see so much promising talent gathered here, not only in the Jarvis Hall, but what's going to happen afterwards. Not to mention the fantastic work displayed on the walls of this building. This is the greatest degree show on earth, with the best work from over 150 schools around the world displayed. Now, I must say a few words about the awards themselves. Given since 2000, the biennial Annie Spink Award for Excellence in Architecture Education is now an established and coveted award in the academic world. It's open to teachers, individuals, or groups working on any internationally validated RIBA course who are involved in the development of architecture education and engage with the process of teaching and learning. The nominations for this year's award showed fantastic quality and diversity and demonstrate the international impact of the role the RIBA has been having in architectural education. Also awarded tonight, the President's Award for Research. Encourage and reward outstanding research in architecture carried out by PhD students, academics, and practitioners. And of course, it is only through a true coming together of education, research, and practice that we will achieve all those other values that I was talking about earlier. These awards help to promote and champion high-quality research and encourage its dissemination and incorporation into the knowledge base of the profession. They contribute to raising the profile of architects, practitioners, and academics engaged in outstanding research and raise awareness of the need for research across the profession to foster innovation and strategic thinking. And finally, of course, the President's Medals, the RIBA's international program of student awards. There's a budding student, I see, making an early entry here. They are widely regarded as the most prestigious awards in architectural education worldwide and aim to celebrate the talent of students nominated by schools of architecture all over the world. And as Simon mentioned, the President's Medal entries are assessed by different panels of judges. A panel of internationally renowned judges selects the award winners, including the Bronze Medal for Part 1, the Silver Medal for Part 2, and the Dissertation Medal. The medals have yet again exceeded their own records in a successful program that grows every year. This year we have had more students from more countries nominated than last year, and more schools involved as well than in any previous years. In addition to the 111 institutions that the RIBA validates all over the world, a record number of 116 other non-validated schools were invited to submit work this year. In addition to entries from UK schools and institutions in countries such as Argentina, Chile, China, Colombia, India, Romania, Russia, Singapore, and South Africa, this year the awards grew further, with entries being submitted by non-validated schools from the United States, Canada, Norway, Germany, and the Netherlands. There are, I believe, 156 schools, the work of 156 schools represented, and every one of them is represented somewhere upstairs or downstairs in this building. The President's Medals are a fitting celebration of the outstanding talent in design projects and dissertations that come out of architecture schools. We are particularly proud of the RIBA's involvement with schools of architecture in the UK and abroad, and the appointment to manage the UIA UNESCO validation system on behalf of the International Union of Architects, UIA, agreed in June, demonstrates the importance the RIBA has gained in the validation process of architectural education. And once validated, schools will be recognized by both the UIA UNESCO and the RIBA. And this is actually to recognize a simple emerging fact about the world, that it is becoming more one place. Globalization, for all its downsides, is inescapable and has incredible advantages and great beauties about it. And we do need ultimately to develop portability of validation of qualifications so that we genuinely can work all over the world and exchange information across the world. The UIA acknowledges the RIBA's experience in validation and intends to apply our expertise to their system, which is a fantastic achievement by the education team. I'm very grateful to all those who have dedicated so much time and effort to deliver tonight's awards, and of course to our sponsors, without whose generosity this event would not be possible. So in particular, I must thank our principal sponsor, Atkins, the multidisciplinary international consultancy with architecture at its core. Atkins have been supporting the President's Medals as main sponsor for the past 5 years, and we're delighted that they've been contributing to rewarding the future talent of the profession, showing great interest in the quality of work submitted. You'll actually be hearing shortly from Atkins, from Valerie, and some of the very interesting new directions they're taking. I would also like to thank Comfort Workspace, sponsors of the RIBA President's Medals touring exhibition, who also award the Comfort Workspace Awards. The Skidmore, Owings and Merrill Foundation, which has supported the awards from the outset by awarding 2 traveling fellowships in addition to their sponsorship. Iguzzini, a leading company in the field of architectural lighting, associate sponsors for the 5th year running and also responsible for awarding this year's Iguzzini Traveling Awards. And Paul Davis and Partners, architects who have been associate sponsors for the past 4 years and who kindly award the Paul Davis Partners Awards. And a special thanks goes to the Architects Journal, media partner for President's Medals, who have worked with the RIBA and the Education Department for many, many years. And I must thank all the architectural practices that have supported the awards this year. It's wonderful to see great practices small and large, wanting to support and promote the talent for the future, of the future. And finally, thank you very much to the judges, and of course, perhaps more than anybody else, to the students. I hope you enjoy the ceremony tonight. Welcome to the RIBA, and thank you for being here.